Dave Gascio is the Director of Air Operations for the Customs and Border Protection's Unmanned Air Surveillance Program here at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. Director Gascio, you have quite an impressive airplane. You have three of them actually here that we're seeing in the hangar. Tell us about them.
Correct. Here in Arizona we have three MQ-9 Predator B aircraft with the expectation for a fourth delivery sometime in February. We operate along the border from Yuma, Arizona, all the way to the Big Bend area of Texas, and conduct nightly operations in support of the U.S. Border Patrol or other agencies that require our assistance.
Now, these are the Predator B, as they're known. They're used in Iraq and Afghanistan. But on the border, how successful are they? How important are they to the border operations that we see going on today, which seems to be certainly in the Arizona border area more successful in apprehensions and finding these drug smugglers?
They are integral. The program's new and it's been growing. It adds a new dimension in that border security is moving towards an intelligence paradigm. Traditionally, we react to things that happen on the border. In the intelligence world, much like the military, you try to start anticipating where things are changing, and this asset is absolutely paramount in that new paradigm where we can start to anticipate new activities and react accordingly instead of waiting for it to happen and then apply force to it.
So how does it work?
Well, the Predator B is an unmanned aircraft system, which means just that. There's nobody sitting in it, but there doesn't mean there's somebody not flying it or operating it. I like to think of it as uninhabited, not unmanned. In a little while, we'll show you the ground control station, but instead of a traditional airplane where you sit there and move the controls from within, we control it via electronic signal. So instead of cables and belt cranks and hydraulics, we use electronic signals, whether it's through a transmitter on the ground or satellites, to control the airplane and execute the mission.
And what are the capabilities of this plane?
Well, the primary capability is its persistent surveillance. One tank of gas, we can fly over 21 hours on the same fuel load that we'd use for a standard corporate jet. That corporate jet, to do the same mission, would take 6 separate flights to do what this airplane does. So it allows us to stay aloft, persistently remain over an AOR or collect data and execute a mission that a manned airplane otherwise would have to do air refueling or land, or they'll talk about leapfrog or wagon wheel. The airplane allows you to stay on the threat for the entire time. Well, Griff, we're inside the ground control station where the Predator's flown from and mission exploitation is executed. Most people walk in and they look at this and they go, wow, it's a bunch of TV monitors and computers. Well, in actuality, that's really what it is.
In the video that's being seen, the surveillance that you're gathering could also be seen remotely by someone, say, in Nogales or down on the border as well.
Correct. There's several ways of doing that. You can strip the data off from the satellite link if you have access and the encryption, or what we do is we have an internal intranet feed where if somebody has access, this video feed can be fed to anybody that has a terminal through the CBP net. And so my boss in Washington, D.C. can see a flight that's going along in Arizona or on the northern border at any time. Keyboard, believe it or not, most of the functionality is done on a typical keyboard. If I wanted to turn the lights on the airplane, I would go into the M4 key and M0, M1. That's really the challenge in the way this is designed. When you get in an airplane, the switches are always, they typically don't move. If my landing lights, my fuel pumps, they're all switches that are located somewhere. This is all driven by menus and M keys, and those menus are layered. The deeper you go in, the more stuff that opens up. So you have to learn what those M keys do. So if I wanted to turn my lights on an airplane, I would probably hit this switch and hit this switch. I have to go into one menu that goes deeper and then go into a deeper menu and another menu. That's the challenge of it being driven more like a computer than an airplane. Otherwise, flies like an airplane. I taxi out, I'm looking out the front, I control the nose steering with the pedals below. When I go to take off, all my flight information's up on that screen to include airspeed, altitude, engine RPM. I'd push the throttle up, we go down the runway, and at a speed I'd rotate and fly out.